today is one of my favorite people, Doris Isaacs. Doris, thank you so much for being with me today on the lineup.
You're welcome.
We've worked alongside each other on many occasions, working on special events or in some other leadership capacity. But this is the first time you've been on my show, and I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And without further ado, I know you're very, very excited about what we're here to talk about today, so I want you to tell me and our audience what is about to take place with the local Douglas County Boys and Girls Club.
Thank you, Tracy, and thanks so much for having me here. It is very exciting, and it's a wonderful opportunity. We have been working now for about a year and a half on what we call the new Teen Center, which will be an addition to the current facility that we have at the Boys and Girls Club in Hunter Park. And we're just very, very excited about it because it's just going to be something new for our kids to have a place to come where they're safe and they can learn and they can be productive citizens.
Well, it's been very exciting because the city, as you know, you're board president. You know that the city of Douglasville has been highly involved with this club at this location for many, many years. And we were a part of the funding mechanism, not direct funding, but we were a part of the application process through the Department of Community Affairs. And I know that you've been heavily involved in that process, so tell the viewers also what kind of funding we're talking about and what kind of obligation is before the Boys and Girls Club Board of Directors and our community to make this all take shape.
Okay. When we first started off, and we started this, I guess it was around October of 2007 when it was just in the planning stages. And we thought it was going to cost about $1 million to build a teen center. We knew we didn't have $1 million. I don't know of anybody that has $1 million. So we got our heads together and said, you know, what can we do to get some money and some funding to help build the center? Fortunately, you have a couple of people right there in the city who are very, very familiar with a community development block grant. Bill Osborne and Marcia Hampton have worked very, very closely with us. We hired a person who that's all they do for a living is complete grant applications. We sent it in, and at the end of September, we were awarded $500,000 to help get started with the Teen Center. Now, all we have to do is do the matching funds for that, and we are well on our way to running that campaign. We're not there. We still have to raise about $250,000 more, but we couldn't even be this far if it was not for the grant.
Yeah, the city obtained a CDBG, Community Development Block Grant, several years ago, and we constructed the Hawthorne Center in Davis Park.
Yes.
And one of the criteria for that application is that it has to serve low and moderate income individuals. And I know that with my relationship with the Boys and Girls Club here over the many, many years that this club has been on site at Hunter Park, I know that this club meets that criteria as all the clubs in the metropolitan Atlanta do.
Right.
But how difficult was that to put that information together for that application, and were you involved in that process of collecting that data?
Yes, I was, and I did it with the staff and our board, the staff from the Boys and Girls Club and our board of directors, and people at the school system also helped us with some of the data that we needed to have. But the biggest thing is the actual need for the center. Our current club has about an average daily attendance of 160 kids. Our optimum capacity is 130 kids. So when you have 30 extra kids crammed into our current facility, we knew that we had just outgrown our space, and we wanted to do more for teens because teens are special. They're in between. They're not quite adults and they're not children, and they have special needs. And so we were able to take a look at the number of families that we have that are in that poverty level, if you will, or that need more opportunities for their kids, and come up with the numbers that we needed. And fortunately, we got the block grant. Some of you may or may not know, it's more than just building a building. We need operating funds to keep it going. A parent pays $35 a year for one child, but it cost us $1,000 to support that child in that center for 1 year. So that money has to come from somewhere, and that's why the board works so hard to do some of the things we can to subsidize what we're doing at the club.
Well, you mentioned about not having an adequate space, and that was obviously an indicator that, and with the growth rate in Douglas County over the last few years, that was a good indicator that you needed to do something. We needed to look at funding to expand this into whatever we could expand it into, and obviously the teen population is a very high demand population, and it's a very difficult population to serve.
Yes.
Just through the Parks and Recreation Department, we have a very, very difficult time reaching the teen age population and keeping them involved. So going back and looking at the history of the local club in Douglas County, how long has there been that influence in this community, and how has it changed over the years?
We started the first club in Douglas County in 1982. So 2 years ago we celebrated our 25th anniversary in Douglas County with the Boys and Girls Club. And yes, the teen population has grown over the years. Right now, about 35% of the kids in the club are teenagers, and they stay with us. Our programs are good. They learn a lot. They develop into good citizens, productive citizens in the community, and graduate from high school, which is very, very important, and then go on to other things. Some of them go to vocational schools, some of them go to four-year colleges, but our success rate has been very, very high.
And the first club in Douglas County was in a different location, is that right?
Yes, it started off at First United Methodist Church.
Wow.
So that was a long time ago. From there, it moved to the corner of Presley Mill and Slater Mill Road, and they quickly outgrew that space, and that's when they started building the center that's on Gurley Road in Hunter Park. And we have been in that location now for, I think, maybe like 11 or 12 years.
Yeah, Doris, I remember the city of Douglasville and the Boys and Girls Club entered into an agreement in 1997, which there was a ground lease, a 20-year ground lease, and for just over 6 acres of property, and the club was going to build the club that we're in right now, as a matter of fact.
Right.
And we've done some modifications to that ground lease over the years, but it's to benefit both the club and the city of Douglasville. And we have a great working relationship, very user-friendly. And with the overgrowth here, or the overcrowdedness here in this center, with it being located in a park where we have other recreational facilities, it's allowed the staff here to better program space and time. And we feel very fortunate that we were able to provide the space for the club. And Steve Hord, who I'll have on the show in just a few minutes, we have a really great working relationship together, and it's just been a lot of fun getting to see the program grow and the club grow, and I'm very, very excited about the opportunity that's lying before us. You know, being on the board for just a little over a year, or right at a year, I'm familiar with some of the fundraising efforts, but all those fundraising efforts are not for this teen center expansion. There are 2 different types of funding mechanisms that you have to be, as board president, you have to be in tune with. And if you could share some of those, what those 2 different opportunities or funding mechanisms need to be, I think the viewers will have a better understanding of what's really needed here.
Okay. Very, very good thought, and let me pursue that. But first, let me thank you and the city for all you've done to help us over the years. We wouldn't be nearly as successful if it hadn't been for all of your efforts. There are 2 different things that we have to accomplish as a board of the Boys and Girls Club. We need to make sure we are raising funds every year to support the operation of the club. And that's to supplement that difference between the $35 and the $1,000 that I was talking about. We have a couple of major fundraisers every year. One of them is our golf tournament. The other one is our spaghetti dinner and auction. We do the golf tournament normally in the spring, and the auction is done in August. And they're fun events, and they are things that the whole family can come out and enjoy. Now, on the other side of that, we have to raise capital for building. Now, that's bricks and mortar. That is not operating funds at all.
Right.
That is specifically set aside to build a building. And so that's what we're working so hard on right now, is to come up with the matching funds from that grant so that we can build the building.
So over the next few months, what funding opportunities for citizens or businesses are available? I know there's a very big day of groundbreaking coming up the early part of December, and I know that there's a brick program, but tell us about some of the other funding opportunities that you're aware of that are in place right now for funding for the expansion.
Okay, we have several activities going on. We've been working on a brick program ever since we did our 25th anniversary event, where somebody can buy a brick and have their name engraved on it, and those bricks are going to be placed on a wall on the teen center itself, so they will be there forever with those names on them. The bricks cost $50. They would make a wonderful Christmas gift for other people in your family and your friends. So that's just one of the things we're doing. Another thing that we're doing is we are doing naming opportunities, so that if someone wants a room or the teen center or our conversation plaza or the snack room named after them, then all they have to do is they can call the club, and we will give them the prices on everything, and they can determine whether or not that's what they want to do. So we have naming opportunities as well. And then just general pledges. And we will have more information on this after the groundbreaking. The groundbreaking is December 10th, but you can go online and either with the Boys and Girls Club of Metro and pull down the Douglas County page. We're going to try to make available ways of donating through the 3 SunTrust Banks locations here in Douglas County. So there are all different kinds of ways that we can do this, but the major thing right now is we need to be able to build the building. Right.
Well, I have no doubt that under your leadership and through my participation on this board, it's a very good group of people that funding is going to come about, and I know the community is going to jump on board. Times are tough right now, but this is a very, very important issue. It's a very important thing that needs to happen. It's well on its way, and I appreciate all that you've done in these efforts to make this a better place for our youth. And joining me in just a few minutes will be Steve Hord, who is, I know you've worked very closely with Steve.
Yes.
He's the executive director, and we'll talk a little bit about some other issues that we didn't touch on today. But Doris, you've done a tremendous job here, and I want to personally thank you for all of your efforts and everything that you've been involved in. You've made such a difference in our community, and I really am delighted to have you share these thoughts and your time with me today on the lineup. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you very, very much. I appreciate your asking me to be here. It's been a wonderful opportunity to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart.
Well, I know that it is, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me and Doris Isaacs on today's episode of The Lineup. Joining me in just a few moments will be the Executive Director, Steve Hord. We'll be back in just a few minutes in the same location that we're in right now. We'll talk about some of the enrollment issues, some of the eligibility issues of the children who participate in the local Boys and Girls Club. Stick around. The Lineup will be right back.
activities on a glorious day. Let's get out there and play!
Sweet.
There are lots of great play ideas online.
Welcome back to the lineup. My name is Tracie Ivey, your Parks and Recreation Director for the City of Douglasville. And joining me this afternoon is Steve Hord, Executive Director for the Douglas County Boys and Girls Club. And today we'll be sharing some insight as to how the Douglas County Boys and Girls Club, when it came into existence, and what this expansion that Doris Isaacs and I talked about earlier are going to impact Steve and future developments of the Boys and Girls Club here. So Steve, thank you for being with me today.
Thanks for having me here today, Tracie. It's great to be here.
It's good to see you today. We just had a board meeting earlier, and it's always good to see you and learn about what's going on up here.
And it's great to get word out about the Boys and Girls Club.
It's very, very good. And we've got some good news. The existing facility that we're sitting in, the gymnasium right now, is soon will be undergoing an expansion project, and that will include a teen center. Tell me and tell our viewers what that means to you, Steve.
Well, it means 6,000 extra square feet is the first thing it means to us, even if it had no rooms, and it will have some wonderful spaces in it designed just for teenagers. But it means the creation of space for an extra 100 plus teenagers to be impacted by Boys and Girls Club programs, and not just serving as a place to go. That's a starting point, but to have some real impact with programs. We've been busting out the seams at our clubhouse now for a little while now, almost from the time we moved in, and you would know that as our great neighbor and host here. So,
yeah, I'm very familiar. I know your other location over there off of Timber Ridge, I believe, Timber Ridge and Presley Mill, and I knew that place. You were busting at the seams there, and that was what, in the mid-90s?
Oh goodness, all the way through the late '98 when we moved into here in '98, late '98. But yeah, our little tin can back at the time. And
you've been the executive director here for how long now?
17 years.
Wow, so you've been around almost as long as I've been. And
for 17 of my 27 years now. In fact, the Boys and Girls Club of Douglas County and I celebrated our 25th anniversary just a couple short years ago, and it was very special. 27 years now of Douglas County Boys and Girls Clubs, 27 years of me being around as well.
Wow, congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
That's exciting to hear, and we both are working obviously in the same general arena, trying to get youth involved in programs that they feel like they can belong in and learn some things. Tell me and our viewers a little bit about what the local club here does offer as far as programming.
Well, you know, we could talk all day about programming, and we talk in terms of core programs that we want to make sure our kids are not just sedentary. Number one, you're moving, and the one thing parents can assume on is our education is one of our core areas. That through our Power Hour programs and computer education programs, that hopefully we're acting as a supplement to what's happening after school, CRCT preparation, tutorials, mentoring. But education is probably the top of the list, and not far behind that would be character and leadership development. And that shows in the need for and the growth towards this teen center that we can't have soon enough, and it's going to be a godsend for the youth of Douglas County. Social recreation, outdoor leadership programs and education, cultural enrichment, not just arts and crafts, but we want you to be versed in fine arts, in dance, in choreography, in photography, and have some sense of what all is out there. And we just finished off a wonderful program just a month or so ago up in Paulding County with all 30 Boys and Girls Clubs, our Kiwanis Kids Cultural Challenge. And it's just a great opportunity for kids to explore beyond their boundaries, which, whether it's city, county, state, but get beyond that and adopt another country and their cultures. But it's a lot more than just, and of course health and recreation. I don't want to leave that part out. Right. That's just given, I think, with Boys and Girls Clubs. So that's where kids go to play basketball. Well, it's a little bit more than that. And if you think you're coming just to play basketball, you're going to be very disappointed, because we're going to be moving and shaking you around, that you're doing things that matter, that whether you're first grade or you're a senior in high school, that when you walk out the doors after being a member for a week, a month, or 10 or 12 years, that you come out of here with some real tools, some life skills that you can use from day-to-day life and to be a success.
you know, we've talked many, many times about what's going on in your arena and in my arena, and we're on the same page.
How they overlap so much with so many of the same youth and families.
You know, it's what does, I don't know, what is so significantly different about the Boys and Girls Club that Parks and Recreation, we can't deliver, other organizations might not be able to deliver? What is it about the Boys and Girls Club that can deliver so much to today's youth?
Well, without sounding like an infomercial, the Boys and Girls Club prides itself on its mission statement of who we try to reach first and foremost, which is every kid we get our hands on. There's no specific needs that have to be met by the child to be a member. They just have to want to be a member of the club. Plain and simple. Between ages of 6 and 18, we're here for you. Obviously, the families that have more challenges, fewer opportunities, financial or otherwise, that's who we need to be there for the most. We're different, I guess, a little bit. We're youth development. We're facility-based. We're about growing kids. I guess that's really it. And you do that through team sports and extracurricular programming, such as with the park. And we've had a lot of overlap, and that's a great thing. But it's also having teenagers here in the building till 8, 9, 10 o'clock or later some nights, that they're getting, at those ages, that one-on-one attention.
What indicators were there that this club needed to develop further and expand to provide that team programming opportunity?
Well, we had less than 100. We had 79 exactly, 79 total teenagers just 5 years ago. Total membership of teenagers, 79 out of almost a 600 membership. Well, this past year, for the second year running, we topped 200 teenagers, 220 teenagers out of almost 40% of our membership is teens. Well, the club wasn't exactly designed. In fact, our leadership room for our teens is a 20 by 18 foot room that we somehow wedge. We've got one of our most important programs, that's our college bound programs, and also most attractive to our teens. We will wedge in 60, 70 kids in that room that's designed for maybe 20 kids at a time on those nights. It's what we have to do. But they're here, they love the club, and we try to reward them by making sure we're here for them with meaningful, impactful programs.
Well, I know that you and I have talked many, many occasions about reciprocal use of my facility, your facility. That's been a great relationship, and I look forward to it being a better relationship because we're both getting ready to undergo major changes.
The new palace.
We're going to have some downtime. We'll have some downtime. You won't have any downtime, but it's going to be unnerving, and you'll go through all those anxious moments of what it's going to be like, and you know how things can change. So it's very exciting for both of us at this time. So we're on the same page in a lot of ways. But from a funding standpoint, tell me some of the difficulties, and everybody's experiencing it right now. But in particular for you, what are you experiencing on the funding side?
Well, first, I'm amazed, as I know you are too, that with the wonderful happenings here with Hunter Park and the renovations getting ready to happen here. It's amazing that we're even talking about building something in these economic times.
Right.
But that's all the more power to our boards and efforts. They're great efforts. It's also a testimonial to our United Way and the strength of United Way in our community and what they do for the Boys and Girls Clubs and all the other countless United Way agencies that are here under Kathy Eisen's wonderful direction. It's amazing. It really is. We're asking for more when there's less to give.
Right.
And that sounds so backwards, and it probably is. But these are the times when parents are strapped and need more opportunities for their children as well. It's also when there's more challenges for these children because it's less time for parents to be with them while they're trying to put bread on the table and keep a roof over their heads. And that's where I guess the Boys and Girls Club fills an important role sometimes. For a lot of our kids, they refer to us as that home away from home, and we don't treat that very lightly. We spend some late nights, have some early mornings. Are we here for after-school hours? Yes, we are here for after-school hours. Are we here in the summertime with our summertime program? Yes, we are. Are we here late at night with teenagers? Yes, we are. Do we have mentoring programs and homework programs and tutorial opportunities? Yes, we do, and do.
It just goes on and on and on.
It does go on. So it's amazing we're going to have it. What it means is just more impact. that the teens that are wedged into spaces now that just don't accommodate them, that also have them, I don't want to say in the way, but it's certainly a crowded facility when you're averaging around 160 kids a day, and we've had as many as 200 kids in the building at one time.
Wow.
But in a building designed for maybe 120, 125 a day. But we're pretty resourceful that way and creative.
Well, I've seen you in action, and I know you can be very creative, and you can just see the passion and hear the passion. So the kids here, there couldn't be a better guy, or better girl, or whoever in charge of it, making it all happen. So, and just right around the corner, early part of December will be the groundbreaking, the
it's gonna be
ceremonial
exciting stuff. We
groundbreaking.
get to,
And I know that a lot of your club participation will be a part of that ceremony. So tell me a little bit about how they can get into that ceremonial exercise.
as far as our kids being engaged
Yes.
in the program, well, we've got the essay contest going, and the essay is modeled after our Youth of the Year initiative, where you tell us something. We want to know something. What's in your mind. Get your thoughts on paper, and be prepared to read this in front of a crowd of folks for your first. A lot of our kids' first public speaking opportunity. Hello. But they'll be writing on what having a teen center will mean to them. And we've got 2 opportunities for those kids there'll be some nice prizes at work that way, as nice incentives. But the biggest incentive is that they get to speak from their hearts about what having this club means to them to this point, what having this new component, this new teen center will mean for their opportunities and down the road. For our middle school kids, our tweens, as well as our high school kids, our teenagers. We've also got our reigning Youth of the Year. Our Keystone Club president will be there. That's our team leadership group. They'll be representing us. Our Torch Club president for our members ages 10 through 13, that's their leadership group, and they'll be represented as well.
Well, that's going to be a very exciting day in December. I hope we have nice weather. The ceremony will be on site here in your pavilion, just through the doors behind us here. And
everybody will get to see where that teen center will be,
Right.
how it's going to fix in like a Lego with the rest of our operation here.
And from what I understand, the expansion will include behind us here, and some of the perimeter
Right
of this
behind this wall.
building will be part of the expansion process. So it's going to be very noticeable, and our community's got to get fired up about this. It's a very beneficial thing that you and the board and this community, I think, can pull together and make
Need the support, need the word out there that we are here. We've been a best kept secret for a while, and the biggest reason for being a best kept secret outside these doors, outside our park gates, if we've got nowhere to put you, it's hard to promote.
That's right.
And we want you here. We want to make a difference. That's the biggest thing. We want to be impactful.
Well, Steve, you've been impactful to many, many lives, I'm sure, and many, many families. Congratulations on all your accomplishments and achievements, and congratulations on probably the biggest groundbreaking ceremony you've ever been to in your life.
It's going to be huge.
Well, I look forward to it, and I do thank you again for being a part of my show today.
Trey, thank you so much for being a part of the Boys and Girls Club.
Thank you.
Part of my life personally, and part of
Thank
the
you.
support mechanism here. It's a pleasure. We're excited.
We're excited too.
Thanks a lot.
You've had a lot of information thrown at you today. I hope you've enjoyed your awareness about the purpose of the Boys and Girls Club, the local club here in Douglas County. The future expansion to include a teen center is just a wonderful, wonderful activity to look forward to. We're all excited. We want you to be a part of this too, and there'll be many, many opportunities for you to be able to support through volunteerism or through a financial contribution. And keep your eyes and ears open. There'll be a lot more information available to you so you can keep track on what's going on here in Douglas County with the Boys and Girls Club of Douglas County. Thanks again, Steve.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you so much for joining me today on the lineup.